Oh, there's so many of you. A jack pine is a tree that's native to North America, although it'll grow almost anywhere in the world. It's resilient, it has a basic form, but it'll grow to any shape that suits the wind, suits the light, and suits itself. Unlike the perfect pine tree here, chances are you won't be getting a jack pine tattooed on your hip anytime soon. Unlike the supermodel pine tree, the jack pine is wonky and grows in any way it wants. It's alternative and it adapts to its surroundings. When I first started university, I definitely wanted to be a perfect pine tree. I specialised in graphic design and I really felt like I'd found my calling. I discovered things like InDesign, Kerning and dafont.com and all those other great graphic design things that everyone else should definitely care about. I then discovered the Graphic Design Hall of Fame that has photos of past graduates and where they now work, places like Nike and Apple and Google. And I was like, yes, Google. If I'm going to be a success, I need a big company logo on my CV, on my business card, and on my LinkedIn account. And then I read a book. I know, right? A book with actual words. It was by Cheryl Strayed, and it was called Wild, and is now a major motion picture starring Reese Witherspoon, so you don't even have to read the book. She's become a real inspiration to me. She's overcome a lot of adversity in her life, and I just think she's really great. But there was something particularly that she wrote that affected me so much, I printed it out and put it in the front page of my Filofax, which for anyone that owns a Filofax knows is a pretty big deal. It basically said, you don't have to have a career that makes other people comfortable with what they perceive as your success. You don't have a career, you have a life. And this hit me pretty hard because it was like this lady that I thought was super cool was basically asking me, Laura, why do you want to work at Google? Are you doing it for the right reasons, or are you doing it because you think it'll impress other people? It was the first time I realised I actually maybe had a choice and I could go down the road to full-time employment and everything that goes with it, or I could go in a different direction. And this is pretty terrifying for someone that's about to leave uni, but it's not my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that my desktop screensaver will be more exciting than my actual life. I'm terrified that I'll never get my own photo of El Capitan or whatever Mac software we're on at the moment. And I'm really scared that I'll put things off until tomorrow and then realise tomorrow came and went. The trouble is, as people, we put a lot of significance on our own significance, but we don't often ask where that comes from. For me, it's grades, Instagram likes, what other people think, and the prospect of getting a fancy job after uni. But what I'm coming to understand is that it's far better to get your significance from yourself rather than relying on other people. I think as soon as I've started to realise that likes don't actually matter, what other people think doesn't really matter, and that the job title might not actually make me happy, I suddenly became aware that I could decide what I actually wanted to do with my life. Maybe I could get my significance from contributing more or from doing good work for good people rather than just doing work for a logo. I came up with a pretty solid medical term for my anxiety. Adventure-ache for me is the feeling you get at the pit of your stomach when you're equal parts excited and terrified by something. I think everyone has their own ache. And I knew I wanted to freelance and travel, but something in the back of my mind was still like, Laura, what the hell are you doing? Get a job and be pleased. So we made a plan. Me and my partner decided what we wanted from life after uni, how our life would need to be in order to do that, and how our work would need to accommodate that. We came to the conclusion that our work would probably need to be mobile, so like any other normal person, we bought a van. It's a bright yellow VW camper that we've affectionately named Matilda, the idea being that she will give us somewhere to live while we travel, while also allowing us to work, essentially becoming a nomadic design studio. I'm trademarking that term. If you're aware of the hashtag van life on Instagram, where have you been if you don't, then you'll know that we're not the first people to be doing this. There are already hundreds of amazing people all over the world doing really cool things from their vans. By freeing themselves from the commitments such as paying rent or owning loads of possessions, it kind of lessens the need to have a full-time job in the city. So for us, it's somewhere between being gap year backpacker here, travelling around Southeast Asia, finding himself, and having a small home on wheels that houses all of our possessions is a pretty freeing place to be. We essentially want to be digital nomads, which for those of you who don't know is basically someone that can work from anywhere in the world. I did my whole dissertation on it, which is another reason why you should all go to art school, because you can do your dissertations on stuff like that. But essentially what I'm trying to say is that my idea of significance and success has changed. To my fellow students out there, I think it's really important that we remember that there's not one path for everyone. That kind of thinking creates a lot of traffic jams and not a lot of progress. And chances are the main person doubting your navigation skills is yourself. So maybe give yourself a break and take an alternative route. But don't listen to me, I'm 23 and I haven't done anything yet. So these trendy guys are called the Minimalists, pretty trendy. And they have a podcast which is about how they had it all, but they realised having it all didn't make them happy. So they essentially redesigned their life to do what made them happy. I found them to be really inspirational, so I'd recommend them to anyone. The funny thing about dreams and life plans is that so often we don't tell anyone, we don't make ourselves accountable for it, so that if it doesn't happen, no one can say that we failed or that we didn't try. So I think that's why I'm essentially up here justifying to you all why I want to go travelling after uni and not get a job, so thanks for letting me do that. I'd just like to finish how I started, and maybe like me, you're starting to realise that you'd rather be more like a jack pine and grow in any way you like. Because maybe being a perfect pine tree just isn't the thing for you. So thank you.